I was 12 at the time. Oh. He chewed his dinner with the temperament of a ravenous goat, not taking a moment to offer a gesture of condolence. But you're 25 now, so it was a long time ago. He made the statement with a casual ease as if referring to a childhood pet rather than my father, a man who died too young and agonized on a hospital bed before he did. So, about your job, he continued. What is it you do again? I'm a creative director at an advertising agency. At that moment, curious about his follow-up question, I pulled a lock of my box braid behind my ear and leaned into the table. Impressive. But you would quit once you had a family to take care of, right? I chuckled, amused and stunned by his idiocy. No, I absolutely would not quit. Really? Yeah, really. His gaze was stern and steady on me, an intimidation tactic I fought by conveying the same look, but with a hint of disdain to go with it. It occurred to me then that if looks could seal fates, he would have ignited to cinders. Well, he blinked rapidly, his glare quivering under the strain of mine. You're stubborn. He knifed the steak again. Your mother didn't mention that. Personally, I prefer my women to be a lot more... He pondered, eyes narrowed and darting as if considering some vast complexity. And then his stare stilled on me, and he said, submissive. At the utterance of that word, rage seethed inside me, and I prefer that my men weren't chauvinistic pricks with the brain and table manners of a caveman. It was a statement loud enough to capture the attention of the diners at the nearby tables. Inquisitive eyes shifted between me and Richard, inspecting, speculating, and then concluding. The date, or interview, was officially over. I stood and grabbed my trench coat. It's obvious we aren't a good match. Yes, he said. Very obvious. Because of the attention he had gained, he was trying to portray a composed facade, but his straight lips kept reverting to a tight frown. His fingers rolled into fists that trembled, the guise of the perfect husband shedding to reveal his true nature. Goodbye, Richard. I left him alone at the table with strangers eyeballing him and offering silent and likely accurate judgment. It was past 8 at the time, and I ended up in the hotel lobby, heading for the lounge instead of the exit. A drink made by a professional seemed more enticing than anything I could mix at home. The lounge had a more relaxed vibe than the restaurant. The beige and gray palette, cushioned seats, and electric fireplace created a modern and cozy ambiance. I ordered a whiskey sour and sipped with relief. The alcohol unwound the tension that had accumulated throughout the night. My back slacked, and I leaned into the comfortable chair, but the thought of my mother made my spine spike up straight again. She would blame me for how the date ended. At the realization, I emptied the sweet cocktail in my mouth. The flood of alcohol warmed my insides and made my eyes close. I racked my mind for a solution, a way to either survive or avoid my mother's wrath. I considered multiple possibilities, including hopping on a train to Montreal. While still contemplating, a deep voice broke through my thoughts. I opened my eyes, turned to the seat next to me, and saw the man who had spoken. He was looking at me, waiting for my response, but I had no clue what he had asked. Excuse me? I said. Did you say something? Yeah. I was just wondering if you were okay. He smiled, and a deep blush snuck up his cheeks, staining his white skin. You downed that drink pretty fast, and for a minute it looked like you were sleeping. At a bar. What makes you think I wasn't meditating? At a bar? I shrugged. Well, if that was the case, I apologize for interrupting your meditation. Apology accepted. I turned to my empty glass, and he turned to what looked like scotch.